Human confusion: can computer people rule human beings? Part 8 of the Eastern philosopher began to analyze the contemporary human puzzles. Now is an era full of anxiety, and it is inexplicable anxiety. Because of the crazy pursuit of physical greed and instinct, it constitutes the driving force of the modern lifestyle. Now the pursuit of material greed and the crazy pursuit of instinctive pleasure seems to have come to an end, so the human destiny, which has lost the temptation of the soul, has fallen into the great confusion of the times. At the same time, because of the loss of spiritual guidance, human beings do not know how to get out of this confusion, so contemporary human anxiety, like a blind man riding on a blind horse, on a group of blind horses, do not know where to run, so a series of alarmist anxiety appeared, and the computer man will eventually rule human beings. Such anxiety has become fashionable. Modern scientific reason has created a computer more powerful than the human brain. The so-called powerful means more power in the sense of physical logic. Compared with the human brain, the physical logic ability of the computer is similar to that of God and human beings. Moreover, a series of various chess masters constantly send out such information that they are defeated by the computer people, making the anxiety mentioned above more realistic. As a result, the anxious prediction that the computer man will eventually rule the human race has become a cultural fashion. So in my opinion, the above anxiety is just a kind of black anxiety caused by human beings who have come to an end in the stipulation of physical greed and instinctive pleasure, and do not know where to go, a kind of black anxiety caused by contemporary human beings in order to cover up the boredom of their lives and the loss of meaningful goals. According to my judgment, robots or computer people can never rule human beings. Computer people will always be human slaves, and cannot become human masters. So what kind of ideological logic and concept do I base on when I say this? So on this question, that is, whether the computer people can rule the human race, different people may make their own judgments from different perspectives and different ways of thinking. And I, as a philosophical thinker, will make my judgment only from the perspective of the philosophy of life. So, first of all, before making a judgment, we first have to look at the computer people, and what is the nature of the computer people. What are the basic characteristics of computer people? So the computer man is a pearl on the crown of contemporary scientific rationality. Therefore, in order to truly understand the nature of computer man, we must first understand scientific rationality. From another point of view, once we understand the nature of scientific rationality, we will have a clear understanding of the nature of computer people. So, first of all, what is the essence of scientific rationality? The scientific reason is the physical logic of the emerging universe, and the reaction in the realm of human wisdom can also be expressed from another angle. The physical logic of the external world reflected in the realm of human wisdom is sublimated to scientific reason. So from this point of view, we can draw at least two conclusions. The first conclusion, scientific reason, is subjective in form because it is an external logic printed in the realm of human wisdom, but it is objective in essence because it expresses the natural logic of the existence of the universe, the logic of material nature. Therefore, from this point of view, the conclusion is that scientific reason is subject in form and object in essence in content, and it is an existence of object, not subject, which is the first conclusion. The second conclusion is that scientific reason itself, its substantive content, is the logic of material nature, the logic of material nature of the object world, not the mind. Scientific reason is not a kind of existence of the mind, it is a kind of existence of physical logic. So from another point of view, the scientific reason is about the response of the physical logic of the existence of the universe, and according to the rules of modern scientific reason, the universe is limited. Now scientific reason does not recognize the infinite universe and absolute space-time and eternal space-time. Why? Because from the perspective of scientific rationality, things that cannot be verified are meaningless and valuable, things that cannot be verified, and things that cannot be explored are meaningless and valuable. Therefore, only the finite universe has the significance and value of exploration, and the two concepts of infinity and eternity are not concerned by contemporary scientific rationality. Then, this can draw a conclusion, that is, scientific rationality is limited, it is not infinite, it is not an infinite artistic conception. So, now we can sum up, what are the basic characteristics of computer people? Its basic characteristics are, first, it is an object, it is not a subject. Second, it is physical logic, it is not a kind of existence of the mind. Thirdly, it is finite, it is not infinite, and it even refuses to recognize the meaning and value of the two concepts of infinity and eternity. This is the computer man, his essence, and his three basic characteristics. So, what kind of existence is human? We have said many times before, and we will repeat it again today, that the essence of human beings is the existence of the mind embedded in the finite material framework, and human beings are infinite existence embedded in the finite material framework. Although the human body is small, because of the existence of the mind, it becomes the only subject in the universe. So far, at least, that's the case, because we haven't found any evidence that there are other minds in the universe, no evidence that there are any minds other than the human mind, so this leads to the three basic characteristics of human beings. First, he is the subject, and second, he is the existence of the mind. Third, he is an infinite being embedded in a finite frame. Why do we say that man is infinite existence? Because man is infinite because of his mind, and in form, man is limited, not only limited, but also extremely small, but because of his mind, as a kind of artistic existence, he is connected with eternity and infinity. Then why do you say that? What makes the soul infinite? The soul is infinite because it is not limited by the logic of materiality, and it can create the artistic conception that the logic of materiality does not have, that is, the meaning of life, the will of human life, the value of spirit, the pursuit of aesthetics, the poetry of abundance, and so on, all of which are beyond the fetters of material logic. The human mind becomes infinite because it transcends the fetters of physical logic. So the essence of human beings, we often say that the essence of human beings lies in the mind, in the existence of spirit, is such an essential feature that human beings are different from all things. So-called human beings are the soul of all things, because what becomes the soul of all things? Because man is the existence of the mind and the existence of the subject. So, after our understanding of the nature of computers and people, and the understanding of the nature of people, what conclusions can we draw? As the existence of subject and soul, man can create the will of life and the meaning of life, and the pursuit of will and meaning is the fundamental motive force of the whole human history. Man's destiny is the unfolding of man's will, so the whole historical process of man is based on the value of subjectivity and the creative will of the soul. At the same time, the soul breaks away from the restriction of material logic and creates an artistic conception of humanistic value belonging to aesthetic feeling. About the meaning of life, about love, about poetry, and so on, these constitute the theme song of life. The theme song of life is not physical greed, but the artistic conception of the soul beyond physical greed, and the poetic richness that human beings can achieve under the guidance of aesthetic feeling. So after such a comparison, as a philosophical thinker, I come to a conclusion that computer people can never be the masters of human destiny, computer people can never rule human beings, because of the three common senses of life philosophy. First, the existence of the object cannot rule the existence of the subject, the existence of physical logic cannot rule the existence of the mind, and the finite cannot become the master of the fate of the infinite. It is based on the common sense of these three life philosophies that I have come to the conclusion that computer people can only be human slaves forever, and can only be a tool to serve the meaning and value created by human beings. So what I'm talking about today, what I'm talking about above, maybe only a few people can really understand, but in solitude, through philosophical thinking and dialogue with truth, is one of the pleasures of my life. At the same time, I also want to use today's lecture as a warm-up for my future lecture on the salvation of the human mind.